Do you ever sit down to film a YouTube video, hit record, and then you completely freeze? Or maybe you finally powered through and record something, and then it just sits on your computer for weeks because you don't know what to do next. That endless start-stop cycle is what keeps so many creators stuck. Hours wasted, ideas piling up, and zero momentum. Meanwhile, other creators are uploading consistently, growing faster, and you're left wondering why it feels so freaking impossible to keep up. The truth is, it's not because you're lazy or unmotivated. It's because you don't have a clear system to follow. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact 6-step process I use to research, script, film, edit, and actually finish my video. Once you have this framework, creating becomes less overwhelming and consistency feels natural, and you finally start building real traction instead of spinning your wheels. All right, the first thing is starting with the viewer, not the video. Don't just describe what your video is about. Ask these things to yourself. What problem is my ideal viewer trying to solve? And what curiosity would make them stop scrolling? And I like to use the gap plus gain formula, and I'm gonna break it down. People click when there's a gap, whether that's a pain point, curiosity, or mystery, plus a gain, which would be a clear benefit or a solution. An example would be, so for a boring title, email marketing tutorial, which is not really exciting, but a more clickable one would be why 99% of emails get ignored. Do this instead. Right. The next thing that I like to do in order to find really good title ideas to really hit the ground running with my videos when I upload them is some competitor research. You can do that via YouTube search, but also if you're willing to invest a little bit of money per month, I like vidIQ. It's really, really helpful with getting data and analytics, especially from your competitors, because they've already done the research in the hard work. So let's take a look at someone here. So this is Nikki Saunders, and I have downloaded the vidIQ Chrome extension, so you'll see it up here. And then when you go to some of your competitors' channels, you'll see this little icon right here. And then when you click the 3 dots and then click on View Trending Videos, it'll bring up their trending videos that are like trending in real time, not just going to the popular tab where you'll see things that were trending maybe 5-6 years ago, right? So these are some of her trending videos right here. So how to create your AI digital twin in 6 minutes. So this is getting 25 views per hour. This is getting 13 views per hour. So you can find people, I mean, ideally, I would say it's best to find videos that are getting over 40 views per hour. So if you can find like 70 or more views per hour, that's awesome. But 40 is a really good sweet spot, especially for a smaller channel. And then you can take this title idea, let's say if you are in a similar niche, right? And then you can recreate it, make it your own, make it better. And then in this next section, we're going to talk about some power words that you can use to make your titles stand out even more on YouTube. And right here, I'm on a website called Opt-in Monster because I wanted to show you some examples of power words, right? Exclusive, revealed, secrets, essential, breakthrough, discover, powerful, instant, rare, premium, urgent. These are all really, really powerful words that you can front load towards the beginning of your titles to make them even more click worthy. So do your research, right? And create a little bank of some power words that you can plug into your titles as you're starting to figure out, okay, I'm going to put together this title. What are some words that will create that sense of urgency and really entice people to watch the video? Because essentially the title and the thumbnail is what people see first. And make sure to match the title with the thumbnail. The title should actually tell the promise, right? And the thumbnail should show the emotion or the problem. They should work together essentially, but not repeat each other, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna give you a quick formula bank now that you can actually copy because these are helpful, right? So here's some examples. The real reason result doesn't happen. Stop doing mistake if you want result or goal. How to result without common obstacle. X truths every target audience needs to hear. Step 2, the thumbnail. Think of your thumbnails as the billboard for your video. People are scrolling so fast, they have the attention span of a commercial. They're not reading every title, they're scanning for pictures. And if your thumbnail doesn't stop them, your video doesn't even get a chance. It won't get the kind of views that you're looking for. And I actually create my thumbnail after I come up with my title, but before I record my video. Let that marinate for a minute. Here's why thumbnails matter. YouTube decides which videos to recommend based on performance. That means if people see your video but don't click, YouTube assumes it's not interesting and stops showing it to people. And even if you spend hours editing, all that work will essentially get buried, and you don't want that. Most small creators make one of these mistakes with thumbnails. They either put too much text. Nobody's reading a paragraph on a tiny screen. Remember that people are looking on their phones. The text is either too small. That's another mistake. I actually used to make this mistake a lot, making teeny tiny text, putting teeny tiny text on thumbnails. Don't do that. Having a cluttered design, like 5 different pictures, 10 different colors, no clear focus. You want to avoid that as well. And then looking like everyone else. That is another huge mistake I see people make. If your thumbnail blends in, it won't stand out in the feed. So make sure that you are trying to be different when you are creating your thumbnails. And I like to research my topics on YouTube search, and then I pay attention to the results that show up first, the thumbnails that show up right at the top that are ranking. And then I look at any consistencies. I look for what colors are really popping out, and then also the facial expressions, if there's a face on there, the images that they use, the text, exactly what the text say. And then you can just start remixing from there. I like to create my thumbnails in either Canva, but to be honest, and you might be surprised, I create a lot of my thumbnails in CapCut lately because there's even way more features and it's so easy, especially when it comes to creating the text and all of that. I might do a separate video on that one of these days, but this is a really great way to get inspiration on videos that are similar topics to what you're already going to be creating. And another pro tip is to even check sites like Pinterest to get some ideas as well. All right, step number 3, scripting. Scripting is the step that most creators either overcomplicate or skip, and I know this from experience. And both approaches cause many problems down the line. If you don't script at all, you usually end up rambling. You might start talking about one idea, drift into 3 side stories, and then you circle back. And while you're still talking, your viewers are already gone. They gone clicked off, child. So on the other hand, if you try to memorize every single word, you come across as stiff, like you're reading an essay out loud, which neither one of these styles work, is what I'm trying to relay to you guys. But there is a middle ground that I've found. And what I've been doing lately is I look at what my competitors are doing. So you'll notice a theme. Like, I like to look at what other successful people are doing, not to copy, but to see what's working. Did they use examples? Are they using storytelling? Did they include stats? Did they break it down into steps? Did they share their screen? This is what gives me clues about what viewers actually want, what will actually get that retention, which is what we need on YouTube. And from there, I'll build a rough script. Mine is usually bullet points with transitions and key phrases that I need to emphasize on camera. And it helps give me structure that leaves room to sound a little bit more natural, and scripting saves you time in every single phase. Step number 4, a shot list. A lot of creators think B-roll and visuals are optional. I'm here to tell you that they are not. They're actually what keep people watching. No one wants to stare at anyone's face for 10 minutes straight. It gets old and boring real fast. Here's how I handle the B-roll and the shots. After creating my script, I put it into ChatGPT and have it give me a list of shots for the parts that I want to emphasize or really make stand out. All right, here's the prompt that I put into ChatGPT. It says, here's my YouTube script. Create a list of B-roll and supporting visuals to keep viewers engaged. Break it down by timestamps or sections. And then here is the script down below. And then when I go down to what it actually put, right? So here is what it gave me, right? And then it gave me some B-roll for the hook, for everything, right? So all of these really interesting ideas that I can now take and either put in brackets next to the actual script so that when I'm editing, I know exactly what to put. All right, we made it to step number 5, which is editing. Editing is where most creators just hit a wall. You've pretty much filmed everything, you've dumped it into your computer or your software, then it just sits there sometimes for weeks or longer, and then you start to feel really overwhelmed, and sometimes people give up here a lot. And I make editing easier and more effective lately by doing a few things that I'm going to share with you. By first starting with a rough cut, I go through and delete mistakes, long pauses, any repeated points that don't need to be there. This keeps everything clean and it helps to just not overthink this part. And then from there, I'll just layer in some visuals, right? The cuts that I just showed you, the B-roll, screenshots, any pattern interrupts to just make the videos more interesting. And I find a lot of this stuff on Pexels. You can get ChatGPT to create stuff for you as well. And then I add captions. I like doing auto captions. Most viewers are scrolling on YouTube with their phones with the sound off, and captions will actually grab people's attention. Even when the sound is on, they help reinforce what you're saying so people can actually stay longer. And don't forget, good editing actually starts before you even open the software. You need to make sure that your lighting is good as well. If your videos look dull or shadowy, no amount of editing can actually fix it. And I had to learn that the hard way. The simplest hack, right? Face a window with natural light or use a ring light if you have one. Bright, clear visuals instantly make your content just feel more professional and more trustworthy. And the biggest mindset shift is this: I don't edit for perfection, I edit for completion. If you treat editing like one giant project that you have to perfect, you'll start to just feel burnt out before you even do anything. But if you break it into these smaller phases, it makes everything feel more manageable, and you'll actually finish. And finished videos are the only ones that can grow your channel, so make sure that you remember that. Step number 6, music. And music might feel like a small detail, but it changes the energy of your whole entire video. A talking head with no music can feel kind of flat, and the right track, the right music actually sets the mood and makes your video seem more professional. I grab my music directly from CapCut's library. You can even find it on YouTube as well, but you can pick tracks based on mood, upbeat, dramatic, chill. I just keep it subtle, not too loud, just loud enough to give the video life without drowning out my voice, because you don't want your voice competing with the music. If you're skipping music though, you're missing out on one of the easiest ways to make your videos feel less amateur. So that's the whole process. Title, thumbnail, script, shot list, edit, and then music. These 6 steps are what separate creators who stay consistent from the ones who upload a couple of videos and then disappear. If this breakdown helped, check out my other videos on small creator growth in 2025. And of course, subscribe if you want to stop starting and stopping and finally stay consistent on YouTube. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.